This is Strawberry Ink. I am Santiago, and today I am discussing a shooting that occurred in Orlando, Florida in 2016 regarding an LGBTQ nightclub. By the way, happy Pride Month. Today, we had visitors over. I got my blood drawn out of me. And then later on in the day, I went to the Craft with Pride, which was held at my local library, and met a friend named Ellie, the sweetest girl I've ever met, she and her mom. They plan to continue attending events, and so do I. So, on June 12, 2016, it was a Sunday morning in Orlando at exactly 2:02 a.m. More like a Sunday dawn, a Muslim man stepped into a nightclub called Pulse, a popular LGBTQ plus venue known for its Latin night parties. This person began shooting. The violence that followed was unprecedented. The grief that followed was immeasurable. By the time it was over, 49 people were dead, and 53 others lied wounded. It was the deadliest attack on the LGBTQ plus people in U.S. history, and for a time, the worst mass shooting ever committed on American soil. This is the story of Pulse, the victims, the shooter, the lawsuits, and the federal case that tried to hold his wife accountable. The shooter was 29-year-old Omar Mateen. He entered the club armed with a semi-automatic rifle and a handgun. For the next 3 hours, he terrorized hundreds of people trapped inside. By dawn, 38 people had died inside Pulse. 11 more died later at Orlando Regional Medical Center, where chaos had turned the emergency room into a battlefield. In all, 49 lives were lost, beautiful lives, each with names, families, and futures stolen. They were transported to the Orange County Medical Examiner's office, where grief lingered even in silence. Another 53 were injured. They were treated at the Orlando Regional Medical Center as well. Many were in critical condition. Over time, weeks later, they were released, but healing was just beginning. In the months that followed, families and survivors turned their pain into purpose, and in some cases, lawsuits. Victims and their lawyers filed lawsuits against Facebook, Google, Twitter, claiming they played a role in radicalizing Mateen by hosting extremist content. But due to Section 230 protections, those lawsuits were quickly dismissed. Another lawsuit went against G4S, the global security firm that employed Mateen. They faced allegations of failing to detect red flags, including reports of instability and violent threats. Lastly, a lawsuit against the city of Orlando and its law enforcement agencies such as the Orlando Police Department. They were named in lawsuits for what some described as delayed or flawed tactical responses during the standoff. Some claims were thrown out, others are still pending. Justice for many still feels far away. Behind the headlines, the FBI launched a federal probe into someone close to the shooter, his wife, Norm Salmon. Prosecutor Sarah Sweeney from the Middle District of Florida presented the case to a federal grand jury in Orlando. The result, 2 felony charges, obstruction of justice, and abetting. The indictment was unsealed, and U.S. Attorney Roger Handberg was assigned to prosecute. On January 16, 2017, 10 days after the Epiphany, Noor Salman was arrested by FBI agents as she left her home in Folsom, California in the morning. She was taken to the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, then booked into jail. At a federal hearing, she waived extradition before Judge Edmund Brina. After that, she was flown on a U.S. Marshals plane to Orlando, Sacramento International Airport to the Orlando International Airport. Her first stop was her processing zone, the Orange County Sheriff's Office. And then finally, she was booked into the Orange County Jail. Her defense was led by attorney Linda Morin, with help early on from Fritz Scheller. With the extradition in California, Noor Salman's trial began in March 2018 at the Orlando Federal Courthouse. She had hired a private attorney. This trial was presided over by Judge Paul Byron. The prosecution painted her as an accomplice, someone who had allegedly helped Mateen scout Pulse and lied to agents after the attack. But her defense argued she was a battered spouse, manipulated and dominated by a husband who hid his darkest intentions. The jury included 12 members and 6 alternates, and on March 30th, 2018, they returned a not guilty verdict. Noor Salman was acquitted on both counts. What happened inside Pulse was not just a shooting, it was an act of terror, an act of hate. And it shook a city, a community, and a country. For the survivors, the families of the fallen, and the LGBTQ plus community, Pulse will always be more than a headline. It was a safe space that turned into a war zone. In the years since, memorials have risen, lawsuits have stalled, and trials have come and gone. But what remains is the memory of 49 people dancing, laughing, and living until they couldn't no more. Their names deserve to be remembered. This has been Strawberry Ink. I'm Santiago, and thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your day and enjoy the rest of the week. Have a good weekend too. And remember, love is love, trans lives matter.